What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today I'm going to be doing a disassembly and detent tune on my Nymble X. Wanted to do a little bit of a detent tune because it is a little bit of a weaker detent. I think a little bit of a tune up there would really help it with flying out for the reverse flick. Feels a little soft. Go ahead and get it cleaned up and everything taken care of while I have it in there. If you're interested in the tools that I'm using, I'm going to be using my Weehaw bits. Those are linked down in the description. So is a bit driver, and I think I also have the Scout tool and this mat linked down there as well. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check down below. I like to do it from the lock bar side just because it has everything that you need to disassemble the knife on this side. So we'll go ahead and get started. It is a T8 for all the bits. I checked them before starting. So I'm going to go ahead and get this disassembled. Ooh, that is in there pretty good. Huh. I feel it moving on the other side. Not quite sure why that bottom bolt is so tight in there. Let me see here. That's why I do recommend you use the Weehaw bits to make sure that you don't have any issues with it jumping or skipping. So we're just going to leave that there. Come back to that here in a second. Let's get this other bolt disassembled. Man, this thing is tight in there. I might need to order some more T8s because the T8 gets a lot of work. Keep track of this one. This one is your longer bolt. If you're wondering, it goes through the back spacer. That bottom one doesn't, but I'd like to get this disassembled and up where I can see it. There we go. Should be able to, yeah, just simply disassemble it. Go ahead. I'm going to check this really quick. It's almost out. There we go. Not quite sure. Doesn't have any Loctite on it. Not quite sure why I was having an issue with that. All right, we'll go ahead and get it cleaned up and almost ready to reassemble. That way I can go ahead and get the maintenance done. And if you're not interested in tuning your detent, you don't have to worry about that. There we go. As you can see, the ceramic balls are, the closed side of the cage are facing the blade, so keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and just do a dry clean. Pretty clean inside. Really happy to see that. Doesn't look like there was any lube hardly at all on the knife. If your steel liners or tracks come out, just make sure you reinstall those as well. Go ahead and clean all of the tracks and everything up. We'll go ahead and knock out that pin, clean up the blade. Has internal stop pin, which is really nice as well. Go ahead and clean the track up. And go ahead and clean the bearings up as well. With everything cleaned, if yours is really grimy or caked up, you can use a little bit of rubbing alcohol and spray it on the cloth directly. And that'll keep it from breaking down the oil on the actual knife itself. So we're going to go ahead and drop a couple of, this not even broken in, you can hardly see any of the tracks. So we'll go ahead and do just a couple of little drops here and then a little bit around the pivot, not too much there. Bring it up here so you can see that. So just a little bit, that might even be a little too much, a little bit too much, and then a little bit on the pivot there. As I mentioned, they were facing the blade closed side, so I'm going to reinstall it that way so you have the smooth side out. And then go ahead and, I'm not sure what I'm hitting here that's making that noise. Oh, it's the backspacer. Go ahead and reinstall everything and have it ready to go for reassembly after I tune it. The detent. Put a little bit here right by the track. Closed side facing down. And then to tune this, what we'll want to do is just make note of where it is. It's just, there's no gap there at all, so I probably will tune it just a little to get a gap in there, just a little bit of a gap. So it's very stiff, so I'm going to keep working it over till I see just a little bit. I want it to get it maybe right about there, maybe not a complete gap, but maybe over just enough to where it looks like, yeah, I'm going to check that really quick. So I'm going to put the pivot bolt in and the back spacer bolt and check the detent and see if it feels any snappier or if I feel like I've gone too far and it's too tight. So we'll check that. Put this one here. Trying to remember where I set everything. Oh, titanium hardware. It is not sticking to the magnet, if you were wondering. Okay. Let me check this and make sure. Yeah. Back out the pivot just a little to make sure. Feels a little bit better. It still feels like you could fail it, but I think it can go a little bit further. So we're going to take it apart one more time. And we're going to just take the lock bar over a little bit more. I like to go a little at a time because I don't want to force the lock interface over too far, because I don't want this to prematurely expire or take a little bit of the life out. So we're going to try to get it to about there, almost to where you can see a gap. All right, so that is definitely too far. You can see the gap now. So we'll take the over travel stop out real quick, and we're going to have to work it back a little bit. And this is part of tuning up. So if you've never done a detent tune before, this is a good way to get familiar with it. So we're going to go back a little bit too far back. Yeah, that looks about good. Definitely have some movement there. I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of this being apart because it looks like there might have been some lube on the lock bar face, which can, if you don't know, it can create lock sticks. So I'm just going to get it out of there, and then I am going to reapply the drops because I think I got it right where I want it. So that you can see how many drops I'm installing. Go ahead and reinstall the lock bar insert with over travel stop. Okay. Don't over tighten that either. You don't want it to. Wow, that dropped in really easy. Once I know that I have the tune in, I will throw a little bit of the paste in the pivot, and then I will let it sit overnight to cure. Actually, I'll probably let it sit for a couple days and let it cure. So I'll make sure not to carry that on Monday. Okay, let's check it now. A little tighten the pivot. Back that out just a hair. Alright. Oh yeah, it definitely feels better. Feels good there still. Feels good there. Yeah, it definitely feels good. It feels good. It feels better with the fuller, using it like from a side flick, kind of like flicking it out from the side. Definitely feels better. And yeah, it definitely feels better in the reverse flick. The only thing I'll say about the Nymble X, I wish they were to put a little bit of jimping here. And now we're sitting at about, man, I need to look at it directly. Sorry, everybody. Yeah, looking at about 50% lockup. So not too bad. Nice drop shut, fall shut action. Still feels very guillotine. Still needs to be broken in, but the detent feels much better now that it's over, and you'll just have to do yours based on how it feels to you, because you don't want it to, yeah, you don't want it to be too tight. I don't have the pocket clip on. I guess let me reinstall that since I know I like where it's at. Remember that your shorter bolt is going on the bottom, and then your longer bolt, oh, that is such a tight fit. There we go. Trying to make sure that I'm not stripping that bolt. It's going to go through the backspacer, I think is what I was about to say. I guess because the titanium bolts are coated a little bit, that's why I'm getting some resistance on the titanium. Oh, there we go. The other side was spinning. Nice and centered still. Check everything now. A little bit of a tight access to the lock bar. Yeah, still feels good with everything. Detent feels a whole lot better now. So that is your disassembly, maintenance, and detent tune on the Nymble X. If you felt like your detent was a little light. If you enjoyed today's video, if you could do me a favor, leave a like, consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. I appreciate the support from everyone out there that is subscribed, regularly leaving the likes and comments to help me with the channel growth. I appreciate it so much. Thanks for tuning in. I hope all of you have a fantastic week, and until next time, peace.